Hi, book nerds. Mary here. I am going to just do a compilation video of all of my favorites from April through October because who has time to do one for each month when you're catching up? Not me. So I decided to just do one where I reviewed all of those months together and we can catch up on my favorite books throughout the year. If you hear something a little funny in my voice, I have a cough drop in because I have a cough right now. I'm not sick, but I have a cough. It is what it is. And yes, this is my second video using a microphone, and I feel like a goober with the microphone here, but it just doesn't seem to look right there. Give me your feedback. Do you use a microphone? And if you do, you clamp it on? Or do you hold it like a little baby microphone? I'm going to have some editing to do on this video. Let's try clamping it and see how that works. Okay, so now I have it clamped here. Let's see how this goes. Let's start with April. And in April of 2025, I read 11 books. And I'm just going to look here at my reading tracker and we'll quickly review them. Sword Heart by T. Kingfisher. I gave that one 4 stars. I definitely enjoyed it. I always enjoy T. Kingfisher's books. Once Upon a Wardrobe by Patty Callahan Henry. This is one that my sister loaned me, and I gave that one 4 stars as well. I really enjoyed it. The Very Secret Society of Ordinary Witches. I think that was the full name. I did not have room for the full name in my tracker. And I can't say the author's name, and I hate to say it wrong. I'm going to put it on the screen here. If you know how to pronounce this, please let me know. I gave that one 4 stars. Definitely enjoyed it as well, and have already read the second book in that series. The 11th Metal by Brandon Sanderson was another 4-star read. Witchcraft for Wayward Girls by Grady Hendrix. I listened to that book on audio. It was a reread for me, and I gave that one 4 stars as well. My Stephen King book of the month was Skeleton Crew, which I also gave 4 stars. Are you seeing a trend here? The next book that I finished was Supernatural by Michael Heiser, and that one took me months to read. It was a nonfiction about supernatural things in the Bible. And it just didn't resonate with me. It did not hook me in. And I actually ended up giving it only 2 stars, unfortunately. Postern of Fate by Agatha Christie. Again, a later Agatha Christie book. I just did not enjoy it. I gave that one 2 stars. Hearts in Atlantis by Stephen King. I read this one as part of Stephen King Book Nerds and gave it 4 stars. Horror Store. Is that how you say that? Horror Store with the little 2 dots over the O by Grady Hendrix. I enjoyed that one. So much so that I listened to the audio. I ended up getting a hard copy for my library, but I only gave it 3 stars. So it was one that I definitely enjoyed and would recommend, but I only gave it 3 stars. Filming when you have dogs is interesting because now Lucy is drinking water. Does the microphone allow you to hear that? I don't know. It's one of those days. Thanks, Lucy. The final book that I finished was my classic of the month, which was Cover Her Face by P.D. James. I gave that one 3 stars. It was okay. It just did not do a whole lot for me. So again, finished 11 books, not one 5-star in the bunch. So when I do my annual favorites, I may end up putting another 5-star in this slot. But if I had to choose a favorite for April of the books I read that month, I would have definitely said Hearts in Atlantis by Stephen King. In May, I actually had a pretty productive reading month, and I finished 12 books. The first I finished was an audio, Fragile Threads of Power by Victoria E. Schwab, and I actually gave this one 5 stars. Double Indemnity by James M. Cain, 4 stars. Home is Where the Bodies Are by Geneva Rose, 4 stars. 5 Broken Blades by May Corland. Is it May or Mai? Please correct me in the comments. I only gave that one 2 stars. Unwanted Guests by Sherry Lapina, 3 stars. First Lie Wins which was our in real life book club book of the quarter, 4 stars. Looking back, I would probably reduce that rating. Days at the Murasaki Bookshop by Satoshi Yagasawa, 4 stars. Legion by Brandon Sanderson, 4 stars. Curtain by Agatha Christie, a later Christie that I'm pretty sure she wrote earlier in her career and just held it until she was ready to end her Poirot stories, 4 stars. On Writing, a nonfiction by Stephen King, 4 stars. Wayward by Amelia Hart, 5 stars. And A Little Hatred by Joe Abercrombie, 4 stars. So my favorites for that month, I did have 2 5-star reads, Fragile Threads of Power by Victoria E. Schwab and Wayward by Amelia Hart. It is so close between those two. I actually gave them a tie in my reading journal. But if I have to choose just one sitting here today, I'm going to go with Wayward by Amelia Hart. In June, I finished 10 books, a lot of audiobooks as I'm looking. Interesting. The first book I finished was called Murder Your Employer by Rupert Holmes. Yes, that Rupert Holmes, 4 stars. The Emperor's Soul by Brandon Sanderson, 4 stars. Marble Hall Murders by Anthony Horowitz, 4 stars. The Teller of Small Fortunes by Judy Young, 4 stars. Dreamcatcher by Stephen King, 4 stars. The Cat Who Saved Books by Suzuki Natsukawa, 4 stars. Sleeping Murder, The Final Miss Marple by Agatha Christie, 4 stars. A House with Good Bones by T. Kingfisher, 4 stars. And my final book of the month was a Perry Mason read, The Case of the Counterfeit Eye by Earl Stanley Gardner, 3 stars. So a ton of good books this month. 4 stars, no 5-star reads. I actually wrote The Spy Coast by Tess Gerritsen in my journal. Looking back, that would not have been my favorite at this point. I would probably choose The Cat Who Saved Books by Suzuki Natsukawa. It was, again, only a 4-star read, so I'd have to consider if I replaced it with another 5-star read in judging my book of the year. Let's move on to July. Only finished 7 books in July. Hidden Pictures by Jason Rekulak. Why can I not say people's names? 3 stars. Apprentice to the Villain, which was the second book in that series by Hannah Nicole Mayer. And I loved the first book. Absolutely loved it. Was hooked, was so engaging. I thought it was funny, cute, a little sexy. I did not enjoy the second book. I gave it 2.5 stars, unfortunately. System Collapse, a Murderbot story by Martha Wells, 3 stars. Poirot Investigates, a short story collection by Agatha Christie, 3 stars. The Arithmetist by Brandon Sanderson, 4 stars. Black House by Stephen King, 4 stars. And my final read of the year was an audio by Naomi Novik, Tongue of Serpents. It's in the Temeraire series, and I love this series. I did only give this one 3 stars, but I would still recommend you read this entire series. As far as favorites, again, no 5-star reads. If I had to choose a favorite in my journal, I chose The Arithmetist by Brandon Sanderson, and I would probably stick with that. It's the one that was most enjoyable to read for the month. But again, only a 4-star read. Let's talk about August. I read one of my favorite books of the year, so I'm excited to go through this list. The first book I finished was said book, Razorblade Tears by S.A. Cosby. This book had me in a chokehold. It was stressful. If you've read it, you know. But it's masterful. The characters, the storyline, the emotions, easy 5 out of 5 stars. I could not recommend this book more. The second book I finished was Other Birds by Sarah Addison Allen, and I really loved this book as well. I gave it 4.5 stars, but if I were rounding, I would definitely give it 5 stars as well. The Maid by Nita Prose, 3.5 stars. Infinity Blade Redemption, 3 stars. The Summer Guests, the follow-up to The Spy Coast by Tess Gerritsen, 4 stars. Everything's Eventual by Stephen King, 4 stars. Partners in Crime by Agatha Christie. This is a Tommy and Tuppence story collection. I'm not a huge Tommy and Tuppence fan. 3 out of 5 stars. So August, I only finished 7 books, but I had a clear favorite. Razorblade Tears by S.A. Cosby. And it will definitely be in contention for my favorite book of the year. September. In September, I finished 8 books. The first was All the Sinners Bleed by S.A. Cosby. Another fantastic book. I gave it 4 stars. It's not quite for me to the level of Razorblade Tears, but still a solid read. Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, 5 of 5 stars. I loved this book. Rocky, if you know Rocky was my favorite, of course. And this is one that I have recommended to multiple people since I finished it. So highly recommend Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. Stormwatch by C.J. Box, 3.5 stars. From a Buick 8 by Stephen King, 3 stars. Sorry, Stephen, but 3 stars. What Lies in the Woods by Kate Alice Marshall, 3 stars. The Mysterious Mr. Quinn by Agatha Christie, another short story collection, 3 stars. Starling House by Alex E. Harrow, 3 stars. And The Scapegoat, my classic of the month by Daphne du Maurier, 4 stars. Again, in September, we have an obvious favorite, Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. Finally, we have October. In October, I finished 11 books, and it was a pretty good reading month for me. The first story I finished was The Murders in the Rue Morgue by Edgar Allan Poe. I was a little disappointed by this. 3 of 5 stars. Next was Marlowe Murder Club by Robert Thorogood, 4 stars. Horror Movie by Paul Tremblay. It would win as the most disturbing book I read of the year. 4 stars. Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. 4 stars. Remarkably Bright Creatures. I have 4 stars written in my journal, but man, I'm thinking of increasing it to 5. I loved this book. It was not perfect. It had flaws, but I loved it. So let's say 5 stars. The Inheritance by Ilona Andrews. 4 stars. A short story by John Scalzi, which is 3 days, 9 months, and 27 years, 3.5 stars. Hemlock and Silver by T. Kingfisher, 4 stars. The Apple Tree by Daphne du Maurier, 3.5 stars. The Tuesday Club Murders by Agatha Christie, 3 stars. Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. I apologize. I need to do better about learning how to pronounce names, but even if I learned it, I have a feeling I would still say it wrong because me. I love this book too, 4 of 5 stars. So my favorite of October clearly is Remarkably Bright Creatures. Marcellus. I don't want to spoil anything about this book, but I loved Marcellus as a character. So I highly recommend Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. In just a few days, I'll be sharing my November favorites, and then we have 1 more month until the end of the year. I can't believe that. This year has flown by so quickly. It's hard to believe that we are 2 days from December when I am filming this, and a few weeks from the beginning of 26. I have a lot of reading to do in December, so wish me luck. I hope you all have a great day. Happy reading.